Go lay down. Good morning, everyone. Oh, that rustling of plastic. That was painful. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, we'll use those. And we need these. Good morning, good morning. Hey, baby girl. Natalia, welcome, welcome. We are going to be reproducing this little whale today. I did link the pattern in my bio. It's in the Linktree link right above all my videos if you wanted to go and get that and follow along. I'm going to be showing you a different way to hook a keyring on for a keychain for your Ammies using a paper clip. So we're going to give everybody a minute to get their stuff together. You're going to need 2 different colors of yarn. Safety eyes if you have them. If you don't, I'll show you how you can use a little bit of black yarn and embroider eyes on. So we are going to go ahead and get started here. Make sure I don't lose my pattern in the floor. Move those off to the side. And find out where the end of this is. Oh, I shouldn't have grabbed this one. There we go. And we are going to start with the magic loop. Again, it could be easy to do. I'm going to raise this up here just a little bit. Try and give myself a little more room here. I'm probably going to have to reposition a good bit. Just bear with me here. There we go. Didn't have it quite set where it needed to be. There. So we are going to start with the magic, the magic circle. And you can do that several different ways. I wrap it around my fingers, make a little X on the back, and just hold it over here. Grab the first loop, give a little twist, and then come over here and grab your yarn to make your magic circle. Okay, if you can't do the magic circle, you can tie your yarn on chain 4 and slip stitch back into the first chain to make your circle to work in, which was the old way of doing it. If anyone needs to see that again, I can show you that again. Oh, you caught me right in the beginning, Chris. Right in the beginning. Right in the beginning. Good morning. Everybody's coming in. Okay, so we're starting out with the magic circle. If anyone needs to see this again, please let me know. I will show you the magic circle again. Oh yeah, I'll show you again. I hold the tail of my yarn in between my thumb and my ring finger. I take my string up and over my index finger and wrap my index and ring finger. And then I bring it back around and make an X. Then when I roll my hand over, I have 2 separate strings, and I hold it just loosely here with my pinky right there. Put my crochet hook under the first string, grab the second string. When it comes out here, I twist my hook so that I make a little loop right there. Right there. Then I come over here where the yarn is under my pinky, and I grab that yarn and pull it through that loop. Okay, and then I just take my fingers out and drop everything, and I have my magic circle. Good morning, Crafts by Yvette. Welcome, welcome. We're going to make these little whales today. I forgot to say we needed a little bit of stuffing. All right, and the directions start off with 6 single crochets in this loop. I also need to get a stitch marker before I get started so that I can mark the end of the row. We definitely need to know where that is, so we need a little stitch marker. You can use whatever stitch markers you're comfortable with. I like these for making the amigurumi, or I call them stuffies. They slide in and out of your work really quickly, really easily. You also have to make sure you don't knock them out of your work, because that'll happen too. So we're going to do 6 single crochets. Now a single crochet... Oh, do you have it now, Chris? Or would you guys like to see that one more time? Let me show it one more time before we get started, because we've got a few more people in here. This is to make the magic circle. Or, well, some people call it magic loop. Magic loop is for knitting, and I'm going to show you that with the knitting portion. So you never need double pointed needles. But anyway, for crocheting, magic circle or magic ring. I hold it between my thumb and my ring finger. I'm going to wrap my index and middle finger. Go around your index finger. Leave a little space in between. When you come back around, make an X. Then just roll your hand over. You have 2 separate strings. Okay? Then again, under the first string, grab your second string here. Here's where I'm going to turn my hook so that it twists that around there. Then come over here, grab your yarn being held by your pinky, which is the yarn that's going towards your skein, because your tail is in between your other 2 fingers there. And sometimes it gets a little tight. You have to pull it through. Then you just drop everything down. Okay? 6 single crochets in that circle. I hold the circle a little tighter so that I don't have all of this flopping all around. What I do is I grab the circle on this side and on this side, and I make a little loop that I'm working in now, and it's easier to control. Okay, so single crochet, we're going to go into that little bit of circle, yarn over and pull a loop through. Then we're going to yarn over again and pull through both of those loops. That is a single crochet. We're going to do 5 more of those. Again, you're going into the circle. Hey Debbie, good morning. Grab up your loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. We have 3 stitches on here now. We need 3 more. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I've got 6 single crochets here. My last single crochet that I did right here, I'm going to put my stitch marker, move my crochet hook out of the way so you can see. I put my stitch marker right in that last stitch that I made. This is the loop that's on my crochet hook. Okay, so I know where the end of the round is, because we're going to be working in a circle now. We are going to take the tail end of that string there, and we're going to pull it. And it's going to draw our work into a circle. Okay? We're going to come over here and start our second round into this stitch right here, the very first one. In the second round, we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Make sure you're picking up your string that's going to your skein and not your tail. I'm going to hold my tail up along the back side of my work here, and I'm going to work over it to start in the weaving in process on that. So, and I just hold it there right to the back. And we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch, which is going to give us 12 stitches for this round. Make sure I get all the way through both legs of the stitch. and do 2 single crochets in that stitch. And we're going to keep doing that all the way around. 2 single crochets in each stitch, all the way back to our stitch marker. This is known as an increase. Some pattern writers will write increase instead of 2 single crochets in each stitch. You have to be careful when you're looking at your patterns. And for those of you who came in after I had stated, this pattern is linked in my bio, the Linktree link, which is immediately above my videos. It'll be the first link. It is a Pinterest pattern. Taking out my stitch marker so I can do the 2 stitches in that stitch. And then I'm going to replace the stitch marker back into the last stitch. So that lets us know where the end of our round is. When you're working in the round, you need to know where you need to stop. Okay, and again, we should have 12 stitches for those who like to count your stitches. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Tamiko. I hope I pronounced that properly. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. Okay, now we're on to the 3rd row here. We are going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch. Okay, so the first stitch here, we're going to do 2 single crochets. And again, I'm still working over my tail here just a little bit. I'm going to snip it off after this one here so that it's out of the way. Make sure not to catch my finger in there. They like to get in the way. And then in the next stitch, we are going to do 1 single crochet. Okay. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So our next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochets in there. Thanks for all the likes and the follows, guys. And then 1 single crochet. We're going to work that pattern all the way around. 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the stitch that follows it. How's everyone doing this morning? We're working on a little whale here. I have it on the top of this box of safety eyes here. I'll show it to you here as soon as I finish this round. And again, we're just repeating that pattern. 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 in the stitch after it. And your last stitch where the stitch marker is should be a single crochet. If not, you mixed something up. You want to go back and check that row or pull it back to the stitch marker. And now we're starting to form like a little cup. You can see a little cup forming because we're increasing in that circle gently, and it's going to start to form a little dome there. This is the little whale that we are making today. I'm going to show you, this was done with a beaded chain. This here I wouldn't recommend using for small kids because then that limits, you know, some parents are concerned about safety with these little beads. So I'm going to show you another way that you can do it that would probably increase your sales, knowing that the safety aspect is covered. But yes, this is what we're doing today for the crochet portion. Anna. Yes, I do. I do put my class videos, the ones I do on Tuesday, on YouTube. Now, if I do any instructional videos outside of that, I do post them. But just my, you know, chat and help other people, I don't post those, no. So, yeah, this is what we're going to be doing today. I think this is amazingly cute. My daughter, who is in this class, made this. So, well, thank you very much. So, we're going to redo that today. And let me pull a little bit more of this out so I don't have to struggle with this. We're going to start on row 4 here. And there's not that many rows in here. There's only 12 rows. And then you make the little tail and stitch it on. So Basically, we're working in all single crochets, so you get practice on the single crochet stitches. Well, I do a knitting portion. I do an hour of crochet from 8 to 9, and then from 9 to 10 I do knit. So I will be showing cast on and how to do what they call magic loop in knitting, which is where you're working on longer knitting needles with a small amount of stitches in the circle. So we are on to 4. We're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch. So we're going to go ahead and put our 2 single crochets in here. And then we are going to do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So I'm going to put 1 in this one and 1 in this one. I hope I can keep up with everybody's comments. Debbie, I did link the pattern in my bio, but you start out row 1 with the magic circle or magic ring, and you put 6 single crochets in the first row. Then in the second row, it's 2 single crochets in every stitch. Then the third row, it's 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and you repeat that around. Row 4, which we're doing right now, we started with 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. And that will give us 24 stitches. So this stitch here, we got 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet in this stitch, and 1 single crochet in this stitch. And just keep repeating that all the way around. If anyone needs to see the single crochet, there's all different ways to crochet. There is no particular standard other than the stitches, how you perform the stitches. You still have to put your needle in through the stitch and grab your yarn up and things like that. So all of that's pretty standard, but how you hold your hook, where you place your stitches, there's all new styles of crochet coming out every day. So there's no one right way to do it. No one right way. Other than the actual technical performance of the stitch. Everybody does a single crochet the same way or a double crochet the same way. So that's the only standard. Okay, we're going to place our stitch marker back in here. Yes, yes. All right, now rows 5 through 8, we're going to do 3 rows where we are just going to put 1 stitch in each, 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So if anybody has any questions about single crochet and how to perform that stitch, now is a good time. I know that we probably kind of left you behind a little bit. I assumed off the bat that everyone knew, and I shouldn't have. But I can show you how to do the single crochet if anyone needs to see it done a little more slowly. And if I'm correct, when you did these whales first, you tied off the blue and then attached the white on the bottom, right? If not, I'm going to show you how to do it without having to cut your yarn and tie it off and then refasten, and show you how to do a color change in crochet. Okay, we're going to show you how to do that without, and I'm going to show you how to do, I think we have some, yeah, we do have decreases in here. I'm going to show you how to do some invisible decreases so that I know when I started out new, okay, there's 1 row, so we got 2 more rows. of just single crochet. When I started out, I did the decreases where I went through the whole stitch, and sometimes it made it look a little more holy, a little more open. And I discovered the invisible decrease, and I want to share that with you guys. And it's taken me years to find that, because it wasn't out and about. I mean, it might have been, but it wasn't shared as much as it is now, because, you know, back then we didn't have a whole lot of videos and stuff like that. It was people sitting around showing each other how to do it, and if you weren't there, you missed it. Unless somebody who was there took the time to show you. So things didn't get shared around as much. But now there's videos for darn near everything. How to do this and how to do that. Alright. This is going to be, yeah, 5 through 8. Actually, that's 4 rows. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Not 3 rows. Alright, I move my stitch marker up. We got 2 more rows to do now with the single crochet. Thank you for the follows, everyone. Running back through the comments, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Again, I did yeah, Chris, this is my favorite crochet hook. My friend Get Crafty Brooks, she makes these, and she does customs for people who want, you know, certain beads and certain toppers. She's got all kinds, and I do have her linked in my bio as well, with that Linktree link. If anyone is interested in purchasing a hook, it takes you straight to her Etsy shop. And she does do all of the purchases through Etsy, even her customs. Oh no, don't start that now. I don't want to have to put you in the kitchen. He's been quiet all morning until now. Please don't. I want you to be quiet. They just ate. They should be going to sleep. Coming up on my stitch marker. Ooh, caught a piece of thread there. Let's see if we can pull that back in. There we go. This will be row 7. We'll have 1 more row of single crochet. I'm going to stuff this one with some yarn scraps that I have over here, because I don't feel like getting up and walking across the room for my stuffing. I've got stuff everywhere in the way because I rearranged my room this weekend. I subtracted stuff out of my room, which added to my daughter's craft room, and she's so tickled with it. Oh, and I'm using, this is worsted weight yarn. I always pretty much work with worsted weight yarn because that's readily, easily available for everybody, and it's the most inexpensive. And of course, my favorite size crochet hook is a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. I think it works really good for making stuffies and amigurumi, because it makes the holes really, really small, so there's not a big risk that the stuffing is coming out of these. Now, if you're concerned that the stuffing is going to come out of them, I'll tell you what you do. You buy a 10-pack of knee-high stockings. You stick your stocking down in here. You put your stuffing in. You cut it off. You sew it shut. Your stuffing is stuck in there. It's an extra step, but those knee-high stockings stretch for a long, long, long way. You can use them forever. I have a 10-pack over here I've had for 5 years, and I'm still, you know, for smaller stuffies, if they're intended for smaller children, I will do that. So, 1 more row of single crochet here. This will make row 8. And for those of you who are new, I will show you once we get done row 8 how to count your rows, just in case you're unsure of how to count your rows, and an easy way that you can count your stitches as well. And again, we should have 24 stitches. Those of you working around should have 24 stitches around these rows. If you don't, we can always, put 2 in one stitch, evenly spaced around. Hopefully you don't have to put more than 3 in there because it'll make it flare back out. And we don't want it to flare out because we're building the height here of the wheel. Okay, and we're coming up on our stitch marker. This will give us row 8. Again, for those of you who might just be coming in, we're making a little whale keychain. I did post the pattern. It is a free pattern off of Pinterest. If you do follow me, oh, you're learning how to hand crochet. Make sure you have a Pinterest account because I do pull most of my patterns off of Pinterest, and they're all going to be free patterns because I don't want anybody to be limited in their learning because they can't purchase a pattern. I want to keep everything minimal cost. Okay, so yeah, we're making this little whale today. This is one that my daughter had made, last year, year before last? And I don't even know if you gave me your first one, but you gave me one of the first ones. All right, now we're going to go on to row 9. And in row 9, this is where we are going to put our fins in. So we are going to single crochet in the next 7 stitches. So we're going to do 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, in the pattern, it says 4 chains, so we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in the second chain, okay, in the chain second, so it's 1 in this one right here, the second chain, we're going to put 3 half doubles at the chain second stitch. So half double, you have to yarn over. I'm going to bring this up here, and we're going to go into that second stitch. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, second stitch. And we're going to do a half double. We yarned over, pulled through a loop. So now we have 3 loops on our crochet hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay? And we're going to do 3 of those in that same stitch. So again, yarn over, go down into your stitch, I'm going to grab up a loop. We have 3 loops now. We're going to pull through all 3. And we're going to do that one more time in the same stitch. Okay? And then it says we're going to single crochet in the next 10 stitches. So we're going to come right back here. This is where we did our chain. So we're going to go to the next stitch here and do a single crochet. And that attaches our little fin on that side. Okay, so now, oh no, we skipped some stitches. Hold on. I'm not seeing all that well now. Come back over here. I'm going to slip stitch that right into, it doesn't say that, but I'm going to do it because if not, it's going to leave a gap. I'm going to slip stitch that right into the same spot where we started our chain, right here. Okay, because I didn't skip any, but it was putting a heck of a hole. There we go. Now we don't have a hole there at the base of our fin. So we're going to go into the next stitch and do our single crochet, and we need 10 of those in a row. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to do the same thing again. Okay, yep, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, at the second chain, which is right here, we are going to do 3 half double crochets in that same spot. There's 1. There's 2. And then there's 3. And then again, the pattern doesn't say this, but I'm going to add it. I'm going to go right back down here and slip stitch that right into the same stitch where we did our chain 10, so that we have, get my hook out of the way, our other little fin. Okay. Good morning, Karen the Sassy Hooker. How are you? Oh, you're very, very welcome. Very, very welcome. I'm here to help with patterns. If you have any other patterns, Hannah, that you're having issues with, just send me a message. I will help you. And then we are going to, should have 7 single crochets. That should bring us right back to the one where our stitch marker is. So we're going to do the 7 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th one is right there where our stitch marker is. So we're going to slide that out, and once we get that stitch done, we are going to put that back in there. Okay, now this is where it says change to the white color. So we're going to back that stitch up, because if I change to the white now, this little gray piece right here is going to be up into the white base, and we want a definite end in that gray color. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my stitch marker back out, and I'm going to take that last single crochet back out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start like we're going to do the single crochet and pull this through. On the last stroke of any stitch that you're doing, it doesn't matter if it's the slip stitch, that pull through is the color change. The last stroke of this single crochet where you yarn over and pull through, that's where you do your color change, right here. If this was a double crochet, it would be the last yarn over and pull through is where you do your color change. So I need to empty out my yarn bowl here so I can use this. I've got stuff left in it from the other day, so that I don't have this ball flying all over the table. Move this out of the way, that could be distracting. And what I do, I loop my yarn back over my fingers about that much. Have my fingers extended a little bit, because you need some for weaving in if you're doing that, but you need to make sure with the amigurumi we're going to work over top of it, and that's your weave in. Okay, so I'm getting ready to finish up this single crochet. What I'm going to do, right there where I made my loop, I'm going to pull that right through. Okay, so that way we're starting off the next row with the color that we're using, not the color that we're ending with. This helps you to keep from colors bleeding over. What I do now is I take the tail of the white, and I'm going to cut the gray off here. Just cut that off. Move that out of the way so we don't get tangled up and distracted, and we need to put that back in just a minute. I take the 2 tail pieces and I hold them along my work right here, just like this. I'm going to tighten up the white, and this one's going to be a pain here. And get this back over to here. I've got my white loop tightened down. I've got the 2 tails here in my hand, and I'm holding them right behind the stitches I'm about ready to do. Okay. It says here in row 10 that we are going to single crochet in the first stitch we're going to do a decrease, single crochet decrease in the next stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we do that decrease and how we're going to catch these strings, okay? The next 2 stitches are this one here and this one here. Normally when you do a decrease, you go all the way through. Invisible decrease, you're only going to go through the front loop. You're going to leave the back loop, okay? We're going to have to catch these 2 on the next stitch, so I'm going to move those out of the way. So, front loop only on the decrease. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Now, because it's a decrease and we're putting 2 stitches together, we have to go over here into this next stitch again. Get it in here so you can see. Just the front loop. Yarn over and pull your loop through. Okay? Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. Alright? You've done your decrease right there. Right here. Very, very minimal. You don't have a whole lot of pulling because you're not pulling all of the stitches. And we are going to do a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So now we're going to go through both loops of our stitch, and we're also going to catch those 2 tails. So we're weaving those in. Okay, single crochet in the next 2 stitches. All right, now we're going to do that decrease again. So we have 2 stitches before our fin. All right, because our fin is right here. We have 2 stitches before our chain starts for our fin. So we're going to do that decrease. Again, front loop only on your decreases. You can see I left the back loop behind. So I'm going to pull through a loop, go into our next stitch, pull through a loop, and then we're going to pull through all 3. Okay, and you'll see a difference in these decreases. You're working on a Highland cow. Oh, sounds so cute. I'm sorry, I'm missing some of these comments. We are making this little whale right here. It's a little keychain amigurumi whale. Showing everyone a different way to hook your keyring on, which makes it safer for younger children. I'm going to show you how to do that with a paper clip. Okay? And just basic amigurumi crochet stitching here. Now, what we're going to do, because there is 1 stitch here before we start chaining, okay, and we have to do single crochet in the next 2 stitches. We're going to do a single crochet, and I can show you here the stitches here before it starts chaining up. So we go into that stitch there. We're going to single crochet that one, and then we are going to take our fin and move it out of the way here. Just fold it back. And you'll see down here, not this one right here under the fin, see that little teeny tiny one right there, but the one right next to it, we are going to put a single crochet right there. Okay, so right here into this one. We're going to go through both of them. And then, oh, I should have grabbed my tails. I'm going to bring my tails back over here just to secure them. Once you get them in there underneath the 2 stitches, you should be good. Okay. Now we're going to do our decrease again. Front loop only. Yarn over. Go into your next stitch. Again, this one's front loop only. As you can see, I left the back loops there. And we're going to pull it through a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. That will help you hide your decreases. You won't see them like you do when you pull them through. Next 2 are single crochets. Yet when you pull through the whole loop, it actually pulls things tight together, and it draws everything. Now we're doing our decrease again. And then we are going to do single crochet here and a single crochet right here before the fin. Now this one, our decrease is going to come over here. So again, at the base of the fin, you have a teeny tiny one. We're going to skip that one. And we're going to do this one and this one. You see that little teeny one? That's part of your fin. So we skip that one and use these two. Those are our decreases after your second fin. All right. I got to look at this through regular view, not camera view. Trying to find things on the camera here. All right. There's our decrease. Now we need a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. All right, and we have 3 more stitches. So our decrease, actually, yeah, we have 3 more stitches. I'm going to have to count this. We are going to do our decrease in just 1 single crochet here. Sometimes things don't come out just right. I want to check the directions. Should have 18 stitches now. Let me count and see how many stitches I have. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I only have 17. That's okay because we're not going to increase by another stitch. Actually, right here, this should have been our last stitch because that's where we did our color change. We do have 18. I didn't put my stitch marker back in there. There we go. I think, no, that's not going to be it. We're just going to have 17 stitches because we're decreasing anyway, and we'll fix it on this round. Okay? This is where you want to go ahead and put your safety eyes in. I would recommend you go ahead and do that. They're going to go here. If you look at the bottom of your whale, this is where your tail's going to get stitched on because your fins are to the front. Okay? So we are going to take out the smallest little pair of eyes that I have in here, and it's probably just the little bead ones. And I don't know if I want to do the smally ones. And we're going to go 1 size up. I'm not sure which millimeter this is because these are not marked in this box. But I have 2. Ooh, those don't match. That would have been wonky, wouldn't it? I have 2 safety eyes. And I have the 2 backs. And I'm going to show you the extra step that I do that help keep these on so you don't ever have to worry. Oh, I'm sorry, Hannah. Knitting Gnome, there's a lot of different ways to do the invisible decrease. A lot of different ways. That's just the way I do it. But yeah, you don't see it. You don't see it at all. So I'm going to go ahead and in here where the 2 are closer to the front side here, we're going to place our eyes out here. And I'm going to go 1 row. You see the row that divides these here? I'm going to go up on that row right above and place my eyes in here. It doesn't tell you about where to place the eyes in this pattern, but this would be the best time to place them, and I think I need to go 1 more over. They do need to be close to the, and I just poke them through a stitch. You can see the little pins come through here. I'm going to put them on here and see if I like where they are. If I don't like their placement, I think that might be too far away from the fin. I can always move them. Let me see here how that looks. There's that fin there. There's that fin there. They are in the same stitches on both sides. So I think I like that right there because I think if we bring them together it doesn't look right because the whale's eyes are on opposite sides of their head. So we're going to leave them right there. I'm sorry, we're still a little slow. Yeah, the internet went out here last night. I'm just glad that it was back on this morning because I wouldn't have been able to done class without it. Yeah, my cell phone data would have loved the heck out of me. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I put these eyes in here. Thank you for the follow, Missy. Yes, I like these right there where they are. What I do is I turn my work inside out to make sure I get it good and secure on there. Okay, you can see where I've got them placed. The dome edge on the safety eyes is the edge that goes out. So when you place it on, it goes this way. So that way it makes it not so sharp and pointy. And I wished I had a thing to push these together with. As I sit here looking at multiple sets of jewelry tweezers, pliers. Let's see if I can't get this on here. My hands just don't want to pinch them on, and that's not going to help. I don't think I got it on there, do I? Nope, it's coming back up. I might have to get a different back. But there we go. We got that one on. That was a struggle off camera. Yeah, they are hard to get on when they're really, really small. Some of these backs seem to have a larger hole in them. But I have old fingers and they don't like a lot of hard things. There we go. We got it. We got them. Now, the extra step that I do is, and I'm not going to do this on the screen because I might get in trouble, but I take a lighter and I heat these up and I melt them. Okay? I'm going to do that off camera on this one here so I can show you. I don't always do them on every amigurumi, but if I think that this is going to be for a kid or if it's going to be slung around a good bit, especially keychains and things like that, you don't want your eyes falling off because, you know, they're in and out of people's pockets and purses and all. All I did was, and you don't have to put the heat directly on it, just close to it and you'll see it start to heat up, and then just press the side of the lighter against that and it'll flatten it out. That's doubly protecting that is not going to come off. Even if it does, you know, slide up, it's not coming off. So, just for safety, we're going to go ahead and do the other one. Again, like I said, you don't have to put the flame right on it because you'll see it melt down. That way you're not worried about setting your project on fire. There we go. And all you need is that little bit of a, let me see if it'll zoom in on just that. Yeah, that little bit of a lip right there. That'll keep it from popping back off. And that's all we did on both of them. This one did a little bit better, but this will work too. Then you turn your work back right side out and put your stitch marker back in. And we will continue on our next row. Okay. Put my stitch marker in here. I was sitting around trying to think of what I was going to do for class today, and I said to my daughter, I said, what do you want to learn today? She said, well, I need a refresher on these. So now we have completed row 10. We are going to row 11, and we are going to do single row decrease in the first stitch, and then a single crochet in the next stitch, and we should end up with 12 stitches. So again, the single crochet decrease, you're going to go into the front loop only, pull up a loop, go to your next stitch. Why does that seem like it's so closed off? That one got a little tight in the tension there. Okay, there's your decrease, single crochet in the next stitch. We're going to do our decrease again, front loop only, Go into your next stitch. Again, that we're only using the front loops for the decreases. And then pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Then again, a single crochet. Man, it sounds like winter weather out there. The wind is whipping, but it is warm wind. But it is howling like a winter wind. It's crazy. All right, we did our decrease there. Now our single crochet. Then another decrease. Go into your next stitch. Again, front loop only on your decreases. And I'll show you the bottom when we get done here. And you're going to appreciate this invisible decrease with the ammies and stuff you're going to be making. Oh, sorry, that was loud. All right, single crochet. No, we get a decrease here. And we are going to have an odd set of stitches because I didn't have enough. So I only had 17 stitches, remember? And we're going to do a single crochet. And let me do my stitch count here because I might just do single crochets in the next 2 because I should have, when we end up with this row, 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm going to do single crochets in the next 2. If you had the same issue that I did, we're just going to do single crochets in the next 2 stitches because that'll make our 12 stitch count for this round, and we're good for the rest of the rounds. It's one of the things in crochet. You can correct your stitch count if it hasn't gone too far, and it's not that many stitches. You don't want to take 10, 12 stitches out of one row because, yeah, you're really going to not close it up flat. You're going to make a peak. All right, now we are going to repeat that round again with a single crochet decrease in the first stitch and a single crochet in the next stitch. And we should repeat that 4 times, and that should give us 8 stitches. Right now is when you want to stuff this because once we get down to 8 stitches, it's going to be hard to stuff. Amber B. Yeah, my daughter's name is Amber too. Amber. The box of the halves. Liz, I'm sorry I missed your comment. We are using the baby whale pattern that I found on Pinterest. It is a free pattern. If you're still in here, if you hit this little icon up here, go back to my profile page. In the Linktree link, click on that. It's right above my videos. The very first link, baby whale. That's the pattern that we're using. Now I try to jump back, and I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook. That's the size I like to use with worsted weight when I'm making amigurumi. Gnome, I think you and my daughter have the same middle name. Yeah, we're making little whales. All right, we're back through everybody's comments. So I have some. Oh, I did have some. Oh, they're over here. I still got to get up. So I think I'm going to grab some stuffing instead, since I got to get up. Well, what I thought was stuffing is not stuffing. It's faux fur. I had gotten some faux fur to line the back side of a blanket, and I decided against it because the blanket was acrylic. It was a baby blanket. It was intended to be really, really warm, like to go over a car seat when you take them out. but the faux fur means that you can't machine wash the blanket. So I didn't want to do that to the recipient of having to hand wash something with a new baby. So what I do when I don't have any stuffing, yarn clippings. Save your yarn clippings from where you trim off your ends. You know, when you weave in your ends, you can use that just as well as anything else. Now I'm trying to find some smaller pieces because I got some larger pieces up here for waist. And I'm probably... I don't want to pull through a whole lot of it, but just grab up a bunch of your little yarn scraps. Shove them right on in there. You can use these to stuff projects. It's not quite soft as stuffing. I don't use this on all of my projects. Just when, you know, I need a little extra and I'm running out, I'll shove some of this in there and it's fine and dandy. Every little string has potential. Oh, you're going to be doing whales. Yeah, welcome back to the living. Yeah, Hoarder Ace, how have you been? Oh, you're fine. Sleep your morning away. This will be posted to YouTube. Now, we have... I might put a little bit more in there after we get up to round 8. But I'm trying to find a few little small pieces there. Alright, now on this row we are going to be doing, because we did 10 and 11. So we're down, yeah, we're down to 8 stitches now. We're going to repeat that again with a decrease and then a single crochet in between. And we'll be down to 8 stitches. Okay, so again, I just hold it like this. I hold my finger in here so that I have it on the back side to press my needle through. So we're going to do our decrease and then a single crochet all the way around. There's our decrease. Oops. There we go. Alright, here's our single crochet. Alright, scissors. And now our decrease. Again, our decreases are only in the front loops. Then our single crochet. And I don't know if we messed up again or not, but it's okay. We're closing this up. We're going to do a decrease. Okay. And then what I do, at this point, they're going to tell you to weave in, to cut your yarn, leave a long tail, and you're going to use this to close it the rest of the way up. Because if we do another round, it's not going to stay flat. It's going to start puckering out. So what I do to end is I'm going to put a slip stitch right here and then chain 2. My slip stitch actually brings the 2 sides to the same level, so one's not above the other. Chain 2 is part of my knot. I'm going to pull a little bit through. Okay. Cut this off, and I do have a good length, close to at least 10 inches maybe. Okay. And I tighten that knot down. All right. Now I grab my handy dandy sewing needle. Got a yarn needle. It's pretty old. The polished edge is wearing off of it. That's how old it is. And it's just almost back down to the bare metal now. I'll have to coat it again. But what I do at this point, make sure to push that down. I'm going to tuck a few more little strings. Just a few more little strings. And I can tuck them in with my crochet hook. The hole is pretty small. But the bottom end of this whale feels a little wanting here. So we're going to shove a little bit more. We're going to keep our our tail out here though, because we don't want to shove that in there. That's all you do, just push it down in there. And it's got a little bit more over here I'm going to push in here. Just like that. I don't know if Minnie's in here or not, but I'm using some of the ends. Some of her ends. She knows what it is. Alright, now, I think that's pretty good for our whale. Oh, one thing I forgot. We're going to have fun with it now. Ay, ay, ay. I forgot to show you guys how to do the chain. I should have showed you when we did the color change. It's going to be hard to do now because I'm going to have to take it out and unstuff it. Before you do your color change, we are going to create this out of a paper clip. This part you shove through, and I can show you down here on this part down here at the bottom. If I were to put the key ring right here, okay, you put this inside of here, and the loop, should get it inside there. I don't want to shove it all the way in there because I'll lose it. The loop comes out through your stitches, and then you can put a key ring on that loop. Can you see that loop? It wants to zoom in on the print and not what I'm doing. You see the loop right there? Then you can put your key ring on. I'll show you how you make that loop with a paper clip. Okay, I'm going to lay that loop down on the desk there. Probably a little harder to see. Maybe it's just my vision, but the camera doesn't seem to be zooming in on that too very well. So, I'll show you how we finish this off in a minute after I show you how to make this, because now we're off onto this. Move this out of the way before I knock it over and have stitch markers everywhere. You take your paper clip and you're going to open it up just on these ends because you want to keep this rounded portion here. So you're going to pull the two ends down and out and straighten them out a little bit. Okay, this is what we did. We straightened out our paper clip. Now, if you don't have these, you can bend this around anything that's small enough to bend it around. You can bend it around one of your yarn needles if you wanted to. Don't bend it too tight though. What I do, I've got it in these little jewelry clips. I take the one and turn it to the other side like that, and take this one and bring them to where they're like that. Separate, go in separate directions. Then I'll take the little pliers and I'll flatten that out. That's your loop that comes up through the top of your, crisscross. Comes out the top of your amigurumi where you want to put your keychain. Then we do have to snip some of this off. I do have jewelry pliers here with cutters and all. So you don't want it too big, but you want it big enough that it's going to be at least as wide as 3 of your stitches. Now mind you, if your stitches are wider, you want to make sure that you cut this a little wider, or you might not even have to cut it at all. If you're using blanket yarn, you might not have to cut it at all. And then on your ends here, we're going to go back to our other little one here. We take the end of that metal and we roll it back around on itself and give it a little pinch down. Now, mind you, if you wanted to go a step further, you could put masking tape or electrical tape. If you're worried of anybody getting scratched on that, you can do that. Okay. Then again, on the other side, you're just going to roll that around back over on itself, and I take the little plier and just pinch it so that it's actually laying on top of itself. I can run my fingers up and down this, and I'm not going to poke myself with metal. This one I didn't do so well. Let me do this one again. Yeah, I can run my fingers up and down that, and I'm not touching anything. So I wouldn't be concerned about, and they don't bend very easily, which is what we were concerned about. I mean, I'm pushing on this, and it's not really bending to the point to where it's going to pinch together real easy and come right out. So that's how you make a little attachment out of a paper clip for your key ring. Again, this would go in through your stitches, and then you could run your key ring. Immediately you have to run your key ring through it. You can't just let it'll fall back in. So you could run it right out the very top circle if you wanted to from the inside. We skipped this step. So this one will just be a little whale that sits around on my desk. But what I do at this point, I go through both loops, and I go through and I pick up all the loops that I have left. You should have 8. It might just be 6. Let's see, 2. And I go from the front to the back. 3, 4, 5. And we got, looks like 6 loops here because we're coming back on the one that we just started in. And then all I do is just pull that tight, and it pulls it shut. And there you are. All I do now at this point is I work this back up underneath of some of these stitches this way. And then I do another little knot. This is the only thing I do knots in, is these amigurumi. I put it through that stitch and I leave a loop. I'm going to take my needle back through that loop. I will tighten that loop up down. Okay. Take my needle through. This other loop that I'm making here that I'm catching on my thumb, I will pull it in there, and then I pull it all real super, super tight. And then I go back down through my stitch, the closest stitch to it, run it all the way through the other side. And when I pull it a little tight, okay, just like that, just a little bit. So that way when I clip it off, it rebounds back into the inside. And then all I have to do, and that stitch is tucked in there. Okay, we're all done. All done. All right, now the only thing we have left is to make the tail. Okay, and the tail gets made and it gets sewed on. I'm so sad that I missed that chain part. But, you know, sometimes the brain does what the brain wants. All right, and what time? We're running over just a little bit on the knitting portion, but it is okay. We need to go back to our gray yarn, or whatever color you chose for the top. You can choose whatever colors when you're making your stuffies. If you want a purple elephant with pink spots, make a purple elephant with pink spots. It doesn't have to be a standard color. That's what I like about crafting. You can make it whatever color you want. Yes, whatever color you want. Now we are going to attach our yarn onto our crochet hook, and we are going to make that tail part now. I attach it on with a slip stitch. Yeah, doubles instead of half doubles. You can do whatever you want pretty much. Yeah, my desk mascot for sure. I'll leave it hanging off my lamp or something. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cracklin. Crack in the sidewalk. Oh, man, I can't read. I can't see. I'm waiting for my new glasses to come in. But we're doing our best. Ooh, I got to stop hitting buttons before I kick somebody out of class. All right, here we go. I attach my yarn on with a slip stitch, and it's almost like we did the magic circle. I hold it between these two fingers. Again, wrap the index and middle finger, make an X, turn it over this way. Slip stitch, or slip knot. Under the first string, grab the second string, and then just let go of everything and tighten it up. There's your slip knot. If you don't like the way your work turns out, you don't have to struggle with trying to unknot that. It'll just come right out. All you gotta do is pull it. So we are going to do 4 chains. So we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to... Where are you doing the 2 half doubles? 2 half double crochet, slip stitch. Where are you doing them? I guess you're doing them in here. Half doubles need 2. Let's see how this goes. We need 2 chain stitch height for the half doubles. So we're going to go into the second chain from the hook and we're going to do our 2 half doubles in there. Let's see how this turns out. Because she doesn't say where to do the half doubles. It just says 4 chains and 2 half doubles. Okay, we're going to try this and see how it goes. Looking at this other one here. I put those 2 half doubles in the same stitch. Let's put those 2 half doubles in different stitches. So in the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a half double crochet and then a half double crochet in the chain next to it. Here we go. And then it says slip stitch. So yeah, that's what we have to do. We're slip stitching back down into the very first chain. Then we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again, the second chain from the hook. We don't count the loop on the hook, we count the chains. 1, there's the second chain right here. We're going to do 1 half double. If I can get it in there, there we go. Stop looking at it through the camera view. Why is it so hard to see things through the camera view? And then we're going to do another half double in the stitch next to that, or the chain next to that. And then again it says slip stitch. So we're going to slip stitch back into that first chain on that one. And we have a little whale tail. Look at that. Now we're going to secure this off, and the way I normally secure off any fiber art, whether it be knit or crochet, I chain 2, and we need to leave a long tail, so we're going to cut a long tail, and then I just pull that straight on through, and then I'll snug that down, and we've got a little whale tail there that we can sew on to the back of our whale. Probably should have, you got to catch it around, we'll get it. So we're going to get our yarn needle back out again. And our whale tail is going to go on the back portion of our whale here. Right about here where we did our color change. You can see where we did our color change right here. So we're going to put our whale tail right there, which is the back center. So that's going to cover up that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go into this white stitch. This is the way I do it. I catch this stitch, and the other stitch behind it. I'm going to catch those 3 on the back end. Okay, you see how I've got underneath of 3 single crochet stitches there in a row. And I'm going to pull that through. And then our whale tail. Oh, that's why I got a little tail there, because of the other end of my tail. Alright, we got our whale tail on there. The other end of the tail where we started crocheting, I'm going to catch that where I came out. You see where I came out right here with my string? The other end of the whale tail where we started crocheting, I'm going to catch that underneath of that knot right there in those stitches with my sewing thread. This here I'm going to try and catch underneath of here. If not, I'll pull it through. I'll pull that through when I get the tail sewed on. So I'm going to hold that down here. Now I've done went through my tail. So I'm going to come back up here and catch this one stitch right here. Like this. And then I'm going to come through the center of the tail. See my tail right here? I'm going to come through the center. And that's going to catch in one of the middle of those 3 stitches right here that I went through. And then we're going to try not to catch the tail up in it as we pull it tight. Get our tail out of the way, yarn tail. And then I'm going to go through the tail one more time, back on the corner where we originally started sewing it in. Just catch a little bit of it there. And this needle is a little thick. And then we're going to tie it off. And I'm going to use this other string over here. No, I'm not, because that's too far apart. When I fasten things off like this, I go back into the fabric close to where my string is coming out so that I can create that loop. Okay, there's one loop. I'm going to tighten that loop down a little. We created a second loop. I'm going to go through that one, and then everything, make sure you go through the loop and not through the yarn. Then we're going to tighten everything down. Okay, you can see there's my little knot laying right there on the top, right there, that little knot. Now I'm going to take that and right here alongside my knot, I'm going to run that all the way through to the top. And again, I'm going to pull it a little bit. You see the tail's pulled in there a little bit now, and we're going to cut that off while we're holding it tight. And it'll bounce back down into the inside. All we have to do is do this. And then this other tail here, we got to do the same thing with that. We're going to feed that onto our sewing needle, and we're going to run that through the middle and up out the top. You don't have to run it all the way through the top. I just do because it gives it extra friction to hold onto in there with the stuffing, or if you used yarn scraps. And then just straighten your little whale tail out there, and we have a little whale tail. And there's our little whale. And we're going to get started on the knit portion. The knit portion might not take too long today because I'm going to show you how you can avoid using double pointed needles. Working in the round with knitting, sometimes you're doing a lot of decreasing. And I don't want to rush right off from the crochet portion, but isn't this cute? Little whale tail. Adorable. There we go. Little fins. You're welcome. Yep, the video will be on YouTube. Or you can call me later. We can do it together again. Yes, I'm going to show you how to do the magic loop on circulars. I did teach Minnie this morning, and I was talking to her about it this morning. She says, oh, I need that to finish up a sweater that she should have had done last month. I don't know if she's here right now. She said she was going to be in here, but she did forgot that it was crochet group today in the real world. So we're going to switch over to the knitting portion. So I'm going to move all of this off to the side. I'm going to have to take this off the needles so I can show you how to cast on the magic loop if you have to cast on. So let me slide these off so this doesn't confuse you. Now, I can do this on a 29-inch circular. If I do it on anything smaller, it doesn't seem to work out very well if you start off with any number of stitches. So I'm going to show you this in a small scale. Move the little whales out of here. And I do have a size 7 circular needle here in front of me. And it is a 29-inch needle. From point to point, it's 29 inches long. So we're going to say, let's say you're making socks or something, and something small, and you don't have double pointed needles and all you have are circulars. We can cast on to circular needles and work it just like double pointeds. Okay, it's going to take just a little bit of understanding. Okay, you have to understand how to do a cast on first off for knitting, and I'm going to show you the long tail cast on because that's the one I like to do. It's a nice little stretchy cast on, and it works for darn near anything in my opinion. So I'm only going to cast on about 20 stitches, okay, because I don't want to have too many stitches because I won't be able to show too much if I have to work through a great big bunch of stitches. So for long tail cast on, it's exactly that. You pull out a long tail. This is the tail end of your string. and you start working in the middle because you're going to use some of this string and some of this string for your cast on. Okay, so I hold the tail end of my yarn is going over my thumb. The working part of my yarn, which is going back over here to the skein, is over my index finger. Okay, just so you know where placement is and which one is going to which. I then gather these two up. And it looks almost like, to me, it resembles a slingshot. Okay, I'm going to put my knitting needle in here and I'm going to twist. That's my first stitch. Now, for long tail cast on, this is only for teaching purposes, so you know where the needle is and which direction it needs to go, because it's kind of hard to say this string, that string, when I've got 4 or 5 strings here in front of me. So, into the fatty part of your palm here, and you're going to go up your thumb. You see you're grabbing that. You see I'm going behind that one string. You're going to secure that with your finger. You're going to come back over here to the pad of your thumb, and you're going to run your needle back down your thumb. Okay, you just brought that stitch right through that loop. You're going to drop your thumb. You're going to come down here and get that string, and it's going to snug it right up for you. Okay, I'll show you that again. To the fatty part of your thumb, or under your thumb, you're going to drag it up your thumb. You're going to bring it over to your index finger and run it down your finger, securing these threads as you go. Then you're going to come back to your thumb and run it down your thumb. Drop your thumb out, and then use it to snug it up. Now you don't want to do it too tight because you want these stitches to slide up and down this needle. If you make it too tight, you're going to have a hard time on your next row. Plus, if it's too tight when you slide it off these needles, it's going to size itself to the cable, and you don't want to do that, especially starting out like this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 20 stitches on here. There's 8. There's 12. 15. And no, this is almost like casting socks on 2 at a time if you work them on circulars and you work 2 at a time. Now, you have the total number of stitches that you want. We just picked 20 because 20 is a nice even number. What I do now that I've got them cast on, and they are sized to that needle, so we do not want to pull on these strings at all from this point out. Okay? Don't pull on these. You'll be sorry. We're going to slide these onto the cable because now we need to manipulate this cable. What I normally do is I just push it right back to the middle. Okay, the middle of the cable. You can see I got both my needles here. We are approximately in the middle of the cable. What we're going to do is we're going to divide those stitches in half. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we got 20. So we've got the halfway mark right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull that cable out so that we split our stitches half and half. Okay? You can see our stitches are split half on one cable, half on the other, and we have a loop. Now, the stitches that you want to start working are the ones that are not attached to the string. Okay? So these stitches over here on this side need to go up to the needle. So we're going to take the cable on that side and we are going to pull that up so that the stitches are back on this needle. Okay? Now we're going to orient this needle like we are going to start knitting. So of course these are the stitches here. This is the stitch we want to start with. So we have to turn our needle this way. These stitches are ready to knit. Okay, anybody who's knit before knows that these are the ones we're going to knit next. So what we have to do is we need the other end of our circular needle. Okay, This is what it looks like right now. We have the stitches we're getting ready to work on the needle. We have our cable, and then the stitches that we just, from where we just finished our cast on. I want to make sure I don't twist this up, so this needs to come over here. Okay. We are going to need this needle to start doing our work. So we're going to pull this needle, all right? But we're not going to pull it all the way through because we need some magic loop on this side too. So this is where we are, and we are going to start working these stitches. You can see that we have a loop of circular cable on both sides. We have the stitches we're getting ready to work on the needle. The stitches that aren't being worked right now are on the cable. So we are going to come up here with our needle. We're going to put it into our next stitch. Grab up our yarn, and I'm going to hope that I didn't twist this. I'm going to check really quickly and make sure. Nope, we're not twisted. And you're going to come right up here and start knitting. Okay. First stitches I do a little tight because we are now going to be putting this into a circle. Okay. I'll work about 3 or 4 stitches double-stranded because this helps me weave in my ends, even though I'm going to end up pulling this out anyway. I'm going to show you how I do it. I am going to clip this little end off because I don't want it distracting anybody. So I've got it in there. And that's some more little bit of yarny thingy here. And we're going to finish this row all the way over to here. Okay? All the way over to stitch number 10. So we have 20 stitches in total, and we are working 20 stitches on a 29-inch circular knitting needle. This is where you would need double-pointed needles. Now, we've worked all 10 of those stitches. So what we need to do is we need to get these stitches onto the needle. So we are going to take our cable, pull it back, and I think I might have spun that around. If I did, I'll fix it. If not, it's okay. You got to be careful about that. Get these stitches that were on the cable onto our knitting needle, and yeah, I did twist them. We'll get it. I'll have some finagling to do here at the end. Hopefully I don't confuse you guys. Now, the stitches that we're going to work are on our knitting needle. We need this one so we can start knitting them. So we've got these on here. We're going to take the needle where we no longer need to knit those, and we're going to pull the needle through long enough that we have about the same size loop on both sides. And then we are just going to start knitting again these stitches. And I probably got myself all turned around here. But this is how you do it. You knit half of your stitches. Okay, and I'm going to have to do a little finagle here, so you have to, the last couple of stitches I'm going to have to slide over and slip back because I've got them twisted here. Or I might not have to if I can get a hold of them right. I didn't turn it around proper. Get this last one here. And then, yeah. We're not twisted. We just didn't get it in there right. Now, we've knitted those. So now we need these on the needle. So we're going to turn this around because this is where we're going to start knitting at this stitch right here. We're going to take and pull on our cable. Make sure you're pulling the right cable. Okay. Get those stitches back up on your needle. And this is, tension is very, very important on this. If your tension gets too tight, you're not going to get these back up on your needle and you're going to be stuck on your cable. And it looks like I did get a little tight, not paying attention. But what I'm going to do, once I get those stitches up on the needle, I'm going to pull this other one so I have it ready to start knitting. And it's probably because I worked those extra there, or because of the way I finished up that last one, but I can get them up here so that we can start knitting with these. And then you just put, yeah, it did get twisted. That's why it got tight. But Like I said, this is getting pulled out. This is just for demonstration purposes. And hopefully I stayed in camera frame. Okay, and then you just start knitting. You're knitting these stitches. The other ones are on the cable. Everything's close together. If you're mindful of your tension, you shouldn't ladder. You shouldn't have ladders in between your stitches on the ends here. It's just like using double pointed needles, but you're only using your circulars. And again, if you're a little more nimble, you might be able to use a 16-inch circular to do this, but you have to have this loop. You have to have a decent amount of loop to be able to get your needles turned around right so that you can do this. So honestly, in all honesty, if you bought 60-inch circulars, you could do anything that you wanted to do. You would need one set of circular needles all in a 60-inch length. You got blankets, you got sweaters, you got socks, you got everything right there in one set of needles. And you just keep doing that. Once you get these knitted and you're up here, you need to go over to here. You're just going to pull that cable back. Get the stitches onto your needle that you need to work. And once you get them up here onto this part of the needle, you can go ahead and pull this one through. Because sometimes that will tighten it up a little bit. And just enough to where you can come back around and work it through. You don't have to pull it to where this is stretching these two ends apart, because you don't want to do that. But yeah, my tension got a little wonky in the beginning. And then you just start knitting again. I think I got it turned around too, because all my knit stitches are to the inside instead of the outside. My purls are on the outside. But that's all you do. And that's the magic loop for knitting. So, and I will slide this back out so that they're both on cables so that I can show you. And I think I did stitch it together. No, it's all right. It just got tight in the beginning. Get a hold of it if my fingers will work right. You can see here we've got 2 rows of knit. 20 stitches on a 29-inch circular. And this helps you minimize on the amount of tools you need, especially if you have limited space. You know, one set of circulars in a, interchangeable circulars even with a long cable would be all you'd need to do any knitting project. If you could find the 60 inches, that would be great. The fixed circulars, I do have a couple for blankets and things like that. I'm getting ready to do some blankets and some bags and things, and I'm going to be making more than one at a time. So yeah, anybody have any questions on this? I know we still have like a half hour left. If anybody has any questions on anything that I've showed today, crochet or knit wise, if you have any questions on anything that you're working on now that you need help with, you can see here even on the ends that I don't have a whole lot of, those got twisted. That one right there got twisted. That's where my tension issue is, because I can feel it. It got twisted on the back side somehow. But no laddering. You can see even here on this side where they come together. No laddering. So it's just as if they were worked on double pointeds. And this is for small stitches, small numbers of stitches that, if you really don't like working on double pointeds because there's so many darn it needles, you can do it on circulars. Crocheting are done with 2 needles, or knitting is done with 2 needles, Sierra. Crocheting is done with a single hook. That's the difference. Knitting can be done on a machine. Crochet cannot. That's another difference. But they're both just as fun. I like both. I like both of them. But no, if you're still in here, hopefully that helps. I prefer knitting. I like knitting. I stopped crocheting for a long time because it activated and irritated my carpal tunnel really bad. I have it in both hands. And I found this crochet hook. Get Crafty Brooks. She puts the silicone beads on the crochet hooks. She has the Susan Bates and the boy hooks, and she does customs. She has some racier toppers if you like that. But this changed the grip, my overall grip. I didn't have to hold it so small, and it brought me right back to crochet. I've been doing a lot more here lately since finding this. So I think it was the pain involved in only 10 or 15 minutes of crochet that made me prefer knit. Yeah, the purl is a reverse of the knit. Yeah, it only has 2 stitches. That is another difference. And all of your live stitches are on your needles for knitting. Your live stitches on crochet, you have to find them. And if you have poor eyesight, it's hard to find them. But yeah, this was done crochet. Crochet material, when it's put together, it looks like this. Knit material, I wished I had just a plain section of knit over here. Let me show you this, because this is, hopefully I don't knock it off the needles trying to get it out of here. And my dog is not trying to move either. Crochet, you can see your rows and things like that. If you're doing one single stitch, now mind you, if you're doing a multiples of stitches and making lacy work, this looks a lot different. Knit, I pulled everything out. Knit looks like this. It looks like little V's. All these little V's that you see across here, that's a row of knit. So it comes up, the fabric comes up different, for sure. Yeah, Tunisian comes up. There is a way you perform a slip stitch, a crocheted slip stitch that makes it look like a knit. No, they don't look the same from knitting and crocheting. You can knit an item and crochet an item, and they both look different. The stitches are different. It depends, Sierra, on what you want to learn. I'm here every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I do teach a class for 2 hours, an hour of crochet and then an hour of knit. We try to cover basics and a little bit more. And I am going to be doing more random lives this week. And I'll be on around 11:30 Eastern Standard Time for those. But I don't know. I don't have a particular day set up for those. If you see a pattern that you want to try and make, I can help you work through it on a live. I've done that with other people. I just ask that you send it to me in a message. The name of the pattern or where you found it. There are several ways to contact me. They're all in my on my profile page right above my videos. There's a Linktree link, and it gives you all the access to me and all the patterns and things that I use for class. Contact me through there or right here on TikTok, and I will get back with you and set a time to where it's convenient for you, and we'll work through that pattern, and I'll help you, even from a beginner. So I'm here to help anybody and everybody. And as I go through, a lot of people who are in my class, they'll tell you that I make suggestions about things that I think it would look good on, things that it would work well with, different textures and accents you can add to make it a little different. And I might end a little early today. I'm a thrower, but I do, I have a pattern over here, a project over here that I'm working on, and I'm using 2 different colors, and it's knit, okay? And I have, let me see if I can get it up here and show you. I'm just tangling it up more. It's all tangled up in there now. Okay. See if I can make an example for you. I'm doing color work, and I will have yarn in this hand and yarn in this hand, and I will be knitting with both hands. So I can do both. I can do both. Either or. It's easier for me, and I'm more speedy when I throw. But when I do color work, I have to have the colors in separate hands, and both hands are going. But it slows me down to knit with this hand solo. You would like to make a husband. You would like to make a sweater for your husband and knit. Do you have a particular pattern in mind? Yeah. The crafting with your hands really will affect the nerves in your hands. Knitting, I wish they had grippers that we could put on the needles, but you have to push the yarn back past the needles in knitting. So you can't really have a gripper in knitting. So I can't do a whole lot of the smaller work anymore. You know, the lace weight yarn. Sock weight yarn is probably the smallest that I work with right now. If I do use lace weight, I double it up so it's more like sock weight. Because the smaller needles, having to grip the smaller needles makes my hands hurt immensely. So I'm kind of glad that I found this because now I'm crocheting more, especially with smaller stuff, smaller yarn. And I've worked with yarn as small as that cobweb lace, and it's really tiny. Really tiny. I'll grab a sip of my coffee here. This is my crochet hook. It's a 3.75 millimeter Susan Bates crochet hook. The beads are put on the handle, so it makes it easier for me to grip it. I don't have to hold it so tightly because it's small, and it doesn't kick up my carpal tunnel or bother my arthritis because you can see my knuckles. I don't have RA, but I do have arthritis. My fingers are already twisting. So yeah, this handle just brings comfort to my hand while holding the hook. Yeah, that's my crochet hook. It's my favorite little crochet hook. If you're interested in one of these, get Crafty Brooks. She makes custom beads and toppers and puts them, well, she puts them together. Let's not say she makes the beads because she doesn't make the beads. But her link is in my bio, again, in the link tree. Takes you straight to her Etsy shop if you're interested. She does have customs where you can select the beads. She's got different pattern beads, different colored beads, glow-in-the-dark beads, and all different toppers. So if you're interested, her link is in my link tree. You can just jump right on up there and it'll take you straight to it. If you're new to the knit and crochet class, I do upload these lives to YouTube. I do have one left from last week, and then I'll get this one done today as soon as TikTok gets done processing it. And it will be uploaded to YouTube. If you'd like to watch these videos later because it's not convenient for you to watch while I'm doing them because you have other things going on, they always get uploaded to YouTube. If you have any questions, you can message me, contact me. I'm here to help. Thank you for the follow, Tanya. So this is always what I wanted to do, to be able to teach. And now I can do it. I can teach everybody. Anybody who wants to learn, young, old, doesn't matter where you live. Yeah. So, make sure that if you follow me that you do click on the little bell on my profile page and you select all notifications. If not, you're only going to get personalized because it's default set to personalized by TikTok. This will let you know whenever I go live, whenever I'm on. Even if I'm not live, it'll let you know I'm here on TikTok. And if you need to message me or hit me up. If I'm not here and you need to message me, because we might not be on the same side of the globe, message me and I'll get back to you. So, yeah. If there's anything particular, is there anything in particular that you would like to learn from the beginning? I know basically there's a lot there's a lot of stitches to crochet. You have your slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and there's a triple or treble crochet. It's the same stitch. I'm sure if you keep wrapping that hook, you can have 5, 6, 7, 8 double crochets, whatever it is. But those are the main ones I stick with. Going past the treble crochet for me, it makes it too floppy. So, oh, okay. You don't know the stitches yet, and you want to make blankets, Sierra. And Tanya, you're new. You can do the steps, but not good at making items. Okay, I am going to get some crochet alongs started up, and I'm hoping to get those started in September. We'll be teaching basic stitches, and some crochet technique at the same time. So it will be good for the beginning crocheter, because the stitches that I'm going to do for these crochet alongs, it'll be small projects to begin with so that we can get the beginner in there and not feel overwhelmed. I want to try and make it, the crochet along where it's, 2 hours or less. So I don't want to sap up all your time, and make a small project so that you're working, and when we get finished, you have something in your hand that is useful. So, yeah, we will start off crochet alongs with small things, and we'll work our way up to blankets once people are a little more, familiar. The more interaction I get from everybody who's here and what they want to see and what their skill level is, I can tailor it a little more to that, because I really want it tailored to you guys. Yeah, keychains where you can do simple little things, just like we did this little whale. Keychains. We can do bookmarkers, all kinds of stuff, because there's bookmarkers with little mice that look like they've been smashed in the book. Frogs that look like they've been smashed in the book. Yeah, this little whale is cute. The pattern for it is in my bio, in the Linktree link right above my videos. It's Linktree. Just click on it and it'll take you to all the access that I've given for you to contact me. I have Facebook Messenger if you need to send a picture of your work. I want to be very clear about that. Don't send me pictures of anything that's not knitted or crocheted. But yeah, Facebook Messenger. I've got my Instagram linked so you can see some of the stuff that I do outside of knit and crochet. I do some painted pottery that I've done for my mom to stack flowers in, and my daughter and my sister. I have other things that I do. There's some woodworking that I'm going to start up here later on when the weather cools off a little bit. And I'll share that on Instagram. But any patterns that I use will all be free. If you don't have a Pinterest account, make one, because that's where I pull most of my patterns from, because there is a large plethora of patterns on Pinterest. What else? I can't think of anything else. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I want to do to help, build skill levels and help build confidence too, because when you make a project, it just feels good. You take this and you make this, you feel really good. It builds self-esteem and self-confidence, and I love it. Yeah, love the little whale. Oh, what is this? Yes, hooked on Lee. This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to teach. Oh, somebody from BG&E asked about the pots. Yeah. Yes, I do have one Tunisian crochet needle. It is a size 10. There is a project that I want to do. It's called the Elf Coat, and I did have to pay for that pattern. It is a paid pattern, and it is on Pinterest. It's called the Elf Coat. It says that it needs to be done in Tunisian crochet, and I will probably do one splice in the Tunisian crochet just to see if I can do it in knit instead. So I'll have to do one section in Tunisian crochet and one section in knit, and I will compare them for size to see if it's going to come out to the proper size. So I might have to buy another hook, because, and I can show you a little bit of that right now because we've got a few more minutes, and we did run over, so I can run over a few minutes. I ought to be off at least by 10:25. So, my Tunisian crochet hook is only 2 steps away. I love the way I reset up my room. Everything's more convenient. But a Tunisian crochet hook looks almost like a straight knitting needle with an end on it. And you have the hook on the other side. You start out just like you do crochet. Oh, you learned how to make magic circle. Look at you go, Ritzy Owl. Yeah, I'll show you guys anything that you want to learn, for sure. And if I don't know how to do it, I will research how to do it, and we'll learn it together. There's still, I've been crafting since 1980. And there are still techniques in crochet and knit that I have not done yet. I ran into a little knot here and I'm trying to untie it. That's what's holding me up. Here we go. I pulled out a length of yarn, and I'm trying not to step on dogs. I always have dogs at my feet. The little one's at my feet right now. He's always at my feet. So we are going to start with a slip knot. Again, I hold my yarn between these 2 fingers, wrap my index and middle finger and make an X. Then again we come up, grab the second yarn, and when we come through we give it a little twist. Then we can take our fingers out and pull. There's our slip knot. Now I'm just going to do a chain of about 10. If I can keep the needle in there. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, with these, and let me refresh my memory here. I think, okay, what we do here at this point, normally anybody who crochets, you're going to think, okay, I'm going to go right back in here and I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay, you're going to go in like you're going to do a single crochet into your next stitch, and I go in through the back loop. Okay, it's kind of hard to go through both loops on your foundation chain, so I just use the back loop. And I'm going to pull a loop up. And I'm going to continue to do that all the way across these 10 stitches, okay? So we're going to go down into our next stitch. Again, I'm just going through the back loop. If you're looking at your stitches, they look like little V's, this being the front loop and this one back here being the back loop. I'm going to go through all these back loops and we're going to pick up a stitch. Now mind you, if your crochet hook is long enough, you might be able to do this. But if you're talking about blankets, you're going to need the Tunisian crochet hook that has the cable on it. And on the other end of the cable, it has one of these. And it's got this on the other end. And again, we're just going into the back loop of our stitch and pulling a loop up all the way across. And we got all those loops still on our crochet hook. This is the basic. Now there's more ways of manipulating these Tunisian crochet stitches to give you different styles of stitch. This is just the basic flat Tunisian crochet stitch. I'm not even sure exactly what it's called. Now we've got a loop pulled up through all 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? What you do with Tunisian crochet is you're going to yarn over, you're going to pull through 1 loop in the beginning. Okay, now when you yarn over, you're pulling through your stitch. So from here on out, you're going to be pulling through 2 stitches, the one on your hook and the next stitch in line. So yarn over and you're going to pull through 2. Then you're just going to keep doing that until you come all the way back to where you only have 1 stitch left. Okay? And it's going to look kind of holy. And it's supposed to look that way in the beginning. Okay? We're yarning over and pulling through 2 stitches at a time. One is the loop on our hook. The other one is a stitch. Okay, and when I get done this row, I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. Okay, this might not look very appealing to most people, okay, because it's pretty holy. But we got to do another row, okay? Yeah, this is the simple stitch. That's what it's called. Thank you, Lillian. Thank you. And let me look back through my comments and make sure I didn't miss anybody. Is that Kalia Sweet? Good morning. You always thought it was a knitting needle. So when you go to do the next row, you see the lines that are coming down here in the front. Okay? That's where you're going to pick up your next stitch in these lines. So we have our stitch here. We're going to go, can't go through this one because we'll drop our stitch. We come over to this one. Right here in the front. If you just lay your crochet hook on there, it'll slide right underneath of there. And again, we're going to pull up loops all the way across. But we're going to pull up these right here. Go up underneath of those vertical lines that go down the front of your work. That's where you're going to pick your stitches up for the next row. And for every other row after this. Okay? This is going to give you something that looks like Adia cloth. Anybody who does embroidery is going to understand, once I get a couple of these rows done, it's going to look like cloth that you can do cross stitch on, because you're going to see little squares in the pattern. Make sure you get this last vertical stitch here, because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches, and we started out with 10. So make sure you get all of your stitches and you have 10 stitches on your needle, because that's what we started with. 10. Okay, now again, we're going to yarn over, pull through 1 stitch. Now, the rest we're going to be pulling through 2 loops. One is the loop on the hook and one is the stitch. So, 2 at a time. The 1 loop and the stitch. Okay. All the way back through. Making sure not to pull your tension too tight because you don't want to flatten this out. And this is where it looks holy. See those holes in there? And that's because we haven't finished the row. Once you finish the row, it flattens it out. Those holes cease to be there. And then when you go and pick up your stitches again, these stitches again, they're all gone, because you can see here from the beginning they're gone. I'm going to go ahead and do this row, and then I'm going to show you what I mean by the Adia cloth for the embroidery. You can take and cross stitch a person's name on here in yarn. You can do monogrammed bags like this, because it gives you spaces to put your X in that are uniform. And I'll show you once I get this row done here. So you need a couple of rows to be able to see it. Make sure we catch our last one here. And I've done this and made little bags. Little like party favor sized bags, which are about 40, 50 stitches in total. You do it flat, seam it up the bottom, fold it in half, seam up the bottom and up the one side. And then you can put little handles on it if you like, or you can do handles on it as you go. But as you're looking at this, okay, I can show you on these last 2 rows here. And I'm going to use my smaller hook to point this out. You see the little boxes that are created from row to row. This is the division here between the rows. You see the lines here. Each of those lines have a hole at the top and bottom. This is where you'll perform your X for your cross stitch if you wanted to monogram a cross stitch name on this bag. You can make it big enough blanket wise and just a panel of this in Tunisian crochet wide enough to use these little squares like your Adia cloth or your embroidery cloth. You make your X in those holes so that you can write names or draw pictures or whatever. You could take and make your own Adia cloth and do a cross stitch pattern on it. That's why I like the Tunisian crochet. But this is as far as I have ever went with the Tunisian crochet, was to make something big enough like this to be able to cross stitch embroider something on. Thank you for the follow, Isabella. And Debbie, thank you for the share. So, yeah. Queen Bright Eyes, thank you for the follow. But yes, definitely, I will be back next Tuesday again to teach class, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We start out with an hour of knit, and then we do an hour of crochet, and then an hour of knit. And then I'm on throughout the week. No given day, but I do have a specific time, 11:30. So if you want to, set a little reminder. Because of health issues, I don't get on every day because it will just drag myself down to where I am 4 or 5 days in recovery. So we have to take it one day at a time. So at least I try to give you an idea of when I will be on outside of Tuesday's class. So Tuesday is a definite day. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed. Oh, all right, baby girl. Kiss the little one for me. I'll call you later. But, yeah. I've always wanted to teach, and now I can. And I can do it the way I want to. I don't have to go to a certain spot and have transportation, and nobody else has to have transportation. I keep everything, as cost efficient as I can, because I don't want anybody to not be able to do it because they can't afford to. My yarns that I have been checking out at Dollar Tree, I have a whole wall full of yarn, so I'm not really too concerned about yarn. But for you guys, cost effective, Dollar Tree does have some pretty good yarn that you can start out with. $1.25 a skein for, I think it's 65 yards, might be 50 grams. I don't have one of them over here to look at right now, but it keeps it inexpensive. They do have knitting needles there. I haven't seen any crochet hooks yet. But they're not too bad. They're not too much. So, if you want to join me for next week and you're just new to the follow, we work with worsted weight yarn, which is a red heart, which is easily found pretty much anywhere. And I don't have any of my labels over here. I've got to get everything put back. Reorganizing the room over the weekend. Some stuff didn't get moved just yet. But red heart worsted weight yarn. Most of the stuff that I do freestyle, I work with the 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, but that's because I like to not have a whole lot of holes where things are going to fall through, unless it's meant to be lacy, and then it's okay. And you also need a US size 8 set of knitting needles for the knitting portion. So those are the only things you need: a skein of yarn, a crochet hook, and knitting needles. Yeah, I know. I love yarn. Let me show you. Let me show you guys my yarn. Please excuse the mess in this room because, like I said, I had to box up and move several things. But I think I have plenty. And all of that stuff in those boxes and stuff is stuff that I packed up off the shelves and stuff that I moved that I'm not putting back up. because a lot of it became catch-all, and I need to sort it out. But yeah, I have plenty of yarn, and you can see my, where's it at? My Ronald Weasley blanket over there. I got to go buy my material this week and get that lined. But yep, I have plenty of yarn. Absolutely plenty of yarn. But I'm going to go ahead and end for today. And hopefully I have, yeah, I love my yarn wall too. I'm going to close it in. I'm going to get out there in that wood shop and I'm going to make what almost looks like room dividers, but I'm going to make it to size so that that has 2 doors across the front of it so that they close like this and they have sides just to keep it, you know, keep it nice. I have a cloth that I fasten up there when I'm not in here working and using it, so that way it keeps the dust and stuff off of it. Thank you, Samantha. You have a great day too. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and end for today. If there's anything that you want to see, hit me up with a message here on TikTok. Let me know what level, what skill level you're at. And I will work with you with anything. If you want to pick out an expert pattern, we'll work right on through it as a beginner, but I wouldn't suggest it. So, may all your stitch counts match. And as usual, happy crafting.